So, we don't usually do a lot of videos like these, but today we're doing that. Have you ever had like a show or an anime that just made you sob? Like, it doesn't have to be the whole show, but just like one scene. Like, I consider myself as a person, like, I don't like cry a lot from a lot of stuff, but there's a couple shows, a couple scenes that just hit me where it hurts. The best example of this I can think of is in One Piece. I'm watching through it right now, and I'm only like 200 episodes in. I've never seen it before. I know, my fault. I'm sorry. But I'm watching One Piece right now, and it's like, for the most part, not that serious. And then all of a sudden it gets to the end of the Alabaster arc, and the way Vivi is just screaming for her kingdom and her people, and I can't find a clip of it in English, and I should really go and get it, but I'm sorry, just go watch the show yourself. I don't want to spoil it. Just watch it for yourself. It's ridiculous. It's just, she's like it tears your fucking heart out, because you actually feel like, oh my god, people are dying that don't need to be dying, and she feels like it's her fault, and it's just this awful thing. And not even that many people that die. Like the bird guy died, which sucked, but like not that many people die. And if nobody's really dying, then can I really be upset? So if we're taking like life and death stakes into it, then we gotta talk about Bojack Horseman. What do I gotta say about Bojack Horseman? I watched this show 7 times. Most of the time I was high. Like, I watched it like 7 times through completely. But I only cried like a couple times, mainly through my first playthrough. The fuck? Hold up. This show has such a way of like giving you a false sense of security, and so many really tense moments. They'll add these like funny moments of just like comedy, just so to like kill the tension, so you don't get too wrapped up in it. Like, I just remember this scene between Diane and Bojack after the book gets very popular, and then they're arguing, and like people keep passing by, and just these in the middle of this deep shit, they're just like, "Hi, how are you doing?" every couple seconds, and it just like it relieves the tension. But it doesn't always do that. Sometimes, not often, but enough that it's mentionable, they will leave you with that tension, sometimes permanently. The best example being Hollyhock.
Hooray! Question mark?
Hollyhock is kind of like a sore subject for me on account of I hate her a lot. But like, that's because I'm favoring Bojack's perspective, and I don't think you're supposed to take Bojack's perspective, because he's an alcoholic asshole for most of the TV show. And that's the point of the TV show. I'm not giving him shit. I enjoy Bojack. But because the show is from his perspective, I hated Hollyhock. In reality, she's just a college kid who wanted to know her dad, but in reality found an old brother. And it's just like, and who's a celebrity and put her in awful situations. But you want to love her, and you want her to like, you just expect her to get okay with Bojack, and you expect it to go okay. And of course, after everything with Bojack's mom, if you've seen the show, you know it. But like, it's just like, it's awful the way like that last letter is from Hollyhock, that just like, you never even get to see it. You just see how it destroys Bojack, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, fuck you, and it tears you apart. I'm not gonna go over like the entire show, because this video is not just about Bojack, but I just want to hit on a couple things before I like go into the main one that I wanted to take from this show. First off, Princess Carolyn makes me sadder than I think any character in almost any show. The more you watch her, just the sadder you get, and she just wants that fucking kid, and she feels like she has to do it on her own, and her mom was shit. And that episode where she's just like going around and there's shadows of herself gives me genuine anxiety attacks, and it makes me feel overwhelmed watching it, to the point that I've watched it 7 times, but I think I've only seen that episode like 3. It's the only episode that I just full on skip most of the time. Half the time, I don't even like think about this, but I was going through some episodes like getting ready for this video, and Charlotte, dude, that deer Bojack was trying to get up on, bro, it's like genuinely really sad, because it's one of those like what could have been scenarios. Like, there's definitely something there, and like she got a dumbass husband, but it's like it's at a point now like it's not gonna happen anymore, and Bojack just can't let it go. And then he does his like awful things that I can't say on YouTube. The ever-present theme of drowning and treading water throughout every season is just kind of anxiety-inducing in itself, and it finally gets relieved a little in like the final episodes. But when you gotta get down to the episodes like The View from Halfway Down, that episode in itself, don't get me started on that episode. That episode is horrifying. Funnily enough, that's gonna bring us to my biggest point and probably like the saddest moment in this show, and that's gonna be Sarah Lynn.
In the great grand scheme of things, we're just tiny specks that will one day be forgotten. So it doesn't matter what we did in the past or how we'll be remembered. The only thing that matters is right now. This moment. This one spectacular moment we are sharing together. Right, Sarah Lynn? Sarah Lynn? Sarah Lynn?
Sarah Lynn just wanted to be an architect, and Bojack took her on a bender that killed her. I think it's a point in the show almost like Walter White and Jane, where like they cause the death of a character, even if it's indirectly, and you get to a point where you have trouble rooting for them because of what they've done. And I don't think I gotta explain why that's sad. Here's a quick and compelling one. I think all of Mugen Train was sad for Tanjiro. And who the hell decided to kill Rengoku? I swear to God, he was the best character in this entire show. Definitely the best Hashira, if you're asking me. And they just kill him awfully, and they just fucking mutilate him. And then when you like see how they like follow it up in like in the next season, which I'm not gonna spoil, just oh, my heart, bro. I saw this twice in theaters, and both times when Rengoku is just skewered. Oh my god. Speaking of animes, My Hero had probably like 3 or 4 moments where I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna definitely probably cry at this. When they tell Deku as a kid that he's just not gonna have a quirk and he's quirkless, and he just like, he's smiling and he refuses to cry. Like he refuses to frown, but he's crying and he's still smiling. It's just the saddest shit in the world for no reason whatsoever. Or when Lemillion lost his powers, like they did such a good job of making you root for this man and like this man, and they're just like, nah, we're gonna shoot him with a bullet and take away his powers. He worked so hard for these powers, but now he doesn't have any powers. And this part is so sad. But then like, I don't know, an episode after this, you have Deku trying to save the kid and just out smash right through that future, and it just rips your heart out. And there's so many more sad moments from the show I can think of off the top of my head, when Kurogiri turns out to be the friend of Eraserhead, or when what's his name, All Might, he's done with the fight for All For One, and he just passes on, gives that your turn now to Izuku, and he starts crying. It's just the saddest shit in the world, because you know, not everybody's cheering, but he knows. But these scenes, they're child play. They're nothing. They're games. They're games to a real man. Real men, they cry when Ash's Butterfree flew away.